political economy at Wits University. This has been an extremely empowering event, although there are obviously big contradictions that are bubbling around here. But the fact that a very strong militant left union movement that can be relied upon, not just the old talk left but do nothing that has sometimes characterized SAFTU and SAFTU. And I think that potential, especially because the metal workers, more than half this Congress, have found a series of allies horizontally in the working class and in the particularly some of the unions, where if we're to see a big federation eventually emerge within the state, probably the strongest part of the working class is also here. And also to see the green component, the land question, represented in FAU, the Food and Allied Workers Union, and some of the other rural movements. And these are the most critical areas where I feel probably it's widely understood. NUMSA failed to get the united front to find horizontal and relations between the proletariat and the poor. However, women have been really missing from this story. It's been a macho and quite patriarchal union launch. I was surprised that there wasn't much more effort put into finding women's voices, but women's issues as well, in a more central way, since the social reproduction of capitalism is under such threat, since the grants system is being shrunk by the neoliberal treasury, whether Pravin Gordhan or we can expect Malusi Gigaba to continue, or the reproduction of male labor in migrant labor has been so central to some of the most vital struggles, like the mine workers struggle. The fact that the mine workers union, the bigger one, AMCU, isn't here is a disappointment. And I think the debates that have been relatively more symbolic took up a great deal of time and attention, as opposed to developing a stronger militant and Marxist ideology that can take a working class and spread it wide at a time when capitalism is putting these workers under such stress. Those are some of my initial impressions. It leaves me with an optimism of the intellect and of the will, but the real struggle is still ahead. For example, whether a workers' party should be a high priority, and whether such a party can find alliances in other opposition parties, especially the EFF, which so successfully has taken the space in the parliamentary left, and as we saw on April 12, with that huge march that they led to union buildings. The students have been missing, although some on the first day were there, but their concerns to bring in a potential militant petty bourgeoisie with the workers remains open. And whether or not this movement can find more unity immediately with its African sisters and brothers who are, of course, coming over the border because of desperation, but amplifying the migrant labor system that exists, instead of the xenophobia that so many in the working class have resorted to. And as we've seen with right-wing movements across the world, in Europe at the moment, the United States last year, those xenophobic tendencies can come up, and it does take quite a concerted effort to make sure that the old colonial borders set up by roads also fall, not just statues of roads. And I think those are the problems that I'm going to be watching, that very impressive leadership like Zwelinzima Vavi, Max Shabalala, the new president, and many of the best trade unionists in South Africa, and many of the best radicals I've ever met have been in this room.
Exciting times.
Yes.
Thank you, comrade.